Okay, here we go. Welcome back to the Magic Hours. Zoe Flowers here. Very excited to be here. You know, it actually takes quite a bit of energy to do these videos, especially of a spiritual nature. So for me, because I also do domestic violence work, and I started doing that work again in August, meaning I wasn't really just doing, because what I've been doing for the past year and a half has been more racial equity work with domestic and sexual violence programs. So I haven't been doing my regular domestic violence work that I do nationally. And so being back in like the day-to-day, like I actually had a part-time job, so being back in the day-to-day of that, I couldn't really get my head around like making videos too and all those things, because I had stepped into a position and there was just a lot to be done. So I really just didn't have the capacity to do both. So even my Magic Hours Instagram, like, share, and subscribe over at the Magic Hours, even with that, it kind of struggled a little bit while I was working. But I'm no longer working. And so I'm taking these next couple of months to really just focus on doing these videos, which I love, doing my readings, and getting ready for the healing and coaching work, because that's going to resume in 2022. Healing and coaching, personal coaching, actually takes a lot out of me as well. And I did that last year during the pandemic. And I only had 3 students, but I met with them every week. And so it's a lot of energy. So this year, it didn't really work out like that. I was doing a lot more speaking and, again, just racial equity trainings and things like that. So 2022, I'm getting back into my healing and coaching. I'm excited about that, and getting back into my video. Excuse me for yawning. Oh, it's no reflection on you as the audience at all. It's just me just getting started. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about these cards that I'm using for Sagittarius season. So, oh my gosh, I have so many cards for Sagittarius season. It's a little ridiculous. For Scorpio season, I think I had like 9 cards, decks, and I thought that was a lot. Sagittarius, I don't even know. Well, Sagittarius does do too much, right? So here we go, right? We're already getting started with Sagittarius doing just a little too much. Sagittarius is like, no, all the cards, right? So here we go. So some of them are in boxes, some of them are not, because again, there's so many on the table that I have to make room. So one deck that I'm excited to see return, I'm a little, I guess it makes sense to me that the Modern Witch Tarot would show up for Sagittarius season, because Sagittarius is about like moving forward and being the visionary, and this deck is quite different from the traditional, you know, Rider-Waite decks. It's very diverse, which I love. It's in some ways there's some gender nonconformity in this deck, but it is mostly female identified archetypes. All right, but again, just beautiful, and it is fiery, because I was like, is this fiery enough for Sagittarius season? But of course it is. It's a very fiery, lovely deck. I think this is going to be a long video, and that's okay, because I haven't done a long video in a long time. So this is one of my favorite, also a diversity and body type. I mean, of course. So, oh, and then my favorite. So that's that on that. So that's one of them. Then the other tarot deck that wanted to come out for Sag season is Mystic Mondays. So this is a deck that I don't often use, but it's gonna read really lovely with the rest of the cards I have. So I think I will skip over to an Oracle deck now, and then I'll come back to my other tarot deck that I'm going to use. But yeah, this is going to pair very nicely. And so I'm doing families now, Oracle families, or tarot families. So in addition to using my deck by season, I'm also doing families, right? Like what families of cards read together. So you can see, like, this is actually perfect, right? Like, look at that. Right? So this is the Prism Oracle. I just got this past Friday, or Saturday. I can't remember. I think it was Friday, but it was late. So this is based on the color wheel. That sun is coming in, so let me do it like that. All right. So this will be a nice addition. So I've already used this in one reading. So I'll be using this for color therapy. So I had a client, soon to be student, on Saturday, and we did her reading, and then I pulled a color to help her with the issue that came up in the reading. So that's a deck I'm using, which is the Prism Oracle. All right. This is like Sagittarius season. Like, it's so beautiful. So now let's go back to our other tarot. I think I have 2 more tarot. So 4 tarot decks. That's just overboard, but what else? So one of my favorites, which I haven't seen in a long time, is the Light Seers Tarot. So again, this is just gonna read really, really nicely. It's gonna pair very nicely with some of the other decks that you'll see in a moment. So that's the Light Seers. And then my final tarot, oh my God, deck is the Mythical Goddess Tarot. I don't know where I was. Oh, maybe I got this from Mandazi. I think I got this from Mandazi in Connecticut. So this is like the weirdest, funkiest deck ever. Like, when I opened it, I was like, what is this deck? But it reads so clear, not but, and it reads so clear, and I adore it. And I love the back of this deck. Oh, couldn't be more beautiful, but it just feels absolutely perfect for Sagittarius season. So for those of you all that are on, drop down in the comments and let me know what you think about these decks so far. So those are the tarot decks, right? So for me, the tarot is kind of the central or the focal point. And then the oracle is like, not the icing on the cake, but they kind of go hand in hand. And you know what? Now that I'm pulling out this Wisdom Oracle, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to pair with my tarot decks. I don't know, but this is what said it wanted to come out. So this is the Wisdom Oracle. I haven't, again, another one I haven't used in so long, by Colette Baron Reed. But when I first got it, I think I got it about 3 years ago, I used to read with this deck all the time. Beautiful backing. You'll see this one a lot on YouTube. But I guess it goes with the, oh yeah, that's cute. Okay. Yeah. Now I see. So this goes with the Light Seers nicely. Beautiful. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. Lovely. Okay, good. So that's that. What else do I have? Oh my God, this is outrageous. So then I have my Shine from the Inside Out, Work Your Light by Rebecca Campbell, and the Starseed Oracle by Rebecca Campbell. So these, I have my eye on that. What is it, that Moon Child or that Star Child? I feel like those will be amazing tarot decks to get with, to read with these. I don't know why I have, I mean, I do know because it's like $52 and I need to just go ahead and purchase it. But anyway, so these, so this one is the Starseed. And isn't it interesting? I pulled the Starseed card, but this is the Work Your Light. So they're just absolutely beautiful. And these I think will read really nicely with the Light Seers. I also feel like it'll read nicely with the Mystic Monday. Yeah, those will read nicely together. I haven't used these together yet. Oh yeah, look at that, beautiful. So that's that on that. And then my, one of my favorite self-care decks is the Shine from the Inside Self-Care. I mean, I just love this deck so much. And obviously it's gonna go so great with these. I love that watercolor. It's interesting as my tarot aesthetic continues to develop. I see that I like these kind of decks a lot, like these ethereal decks. And then I also really like, which they're not here because they're not here for Sagittarius season, but the very earthy beige decks. So it's really interesting to see, like, you know, as my tarot work grows, my aesthetic grows and changes and shifts. And then I also, during Scorpio season, started accumulating a lot of, you know, spooky, heavier energy decks, which I also really appeal to me since I've decided it's okay to like have a heavier deck and have more of like shadow work, shadow-ish work, to bring that work into my practice, or to bring those that energy into my practice, because yeah, you have to have that shadow, you have to have that dark, you know, you have to have the light and the dark. And for so long I just was like, no, just the light, just the light. And it's like, no girl, you need to work with the darker energy as well. And when I say darker, I just mean mystery. I don't get into like that racialized dark is good, light is bad, but just meaning like what's not, more of the unseen, right? More of the mysterious. Okay, so those are all the tarot decks I'm using. And then, so I have the Mystic Mondays Tarot, and then the Mystic Mondays Crystal said that they wanted to be present for Sagittarius season. I pretty much use this all year round though. I love this. I love her Crystal deck even more than the Tarot deck, because as I said, I don't really pull for that Mystic Mondays Tarot that much. But I use this all the time. This crystal deck is so on point. It's so crystal clear. It's the perfect remedy in a reading. And I'm gonna start doing pick a cards again, so you'll see these again. Okay, so since Sagittarius is about learning, growing, expanding, the Threadbound Oracle decided that it wanted to come out. And this oracle, this is another oracle I don't use a lot. And it's interesting that these are coming out for Sagittarius season, because Sagittarius isn't really a sign that I, how do you say? I don't study Sagittarius a lot. Sagittarius isn't a sign I pay a ton of attention to. So it's interesting that cards that I also don't pull a lot came out for Sagittarius season. So they're like, you gonna listen. And I also haven't ever done like a full Sagittarius, like on my Instagram, I do the correspondences that go with the sign. I do the crystals that you can do. I do specific rituals for the season. So I've never done that for Sagittarius. So it's firsts all around. But anyway, this Threadbound Oracle is a deck that's all about like book making and book binding. Or no, I'm sorry, paper making. Paper making and paper binding, which is something I know absolutely nothing about. But look, we're in the library, and then we've got our books. And so yeah, I think it is about bookmaking too. I think it's about paper and bookmaking. But anyway, oh, 2 of paper, yeah, so the page. So it'll be good for me to use this because honestly, I don't use it a lot, and it'll be good for me to learn this deck. All right. So who else wanted to come out and play? So the oldie medicine cards. So I actually resonate more with the wild unknown animal spirit, but this is like an old standby. It's like I shouldn't say every, but most tarot readers that I know that have been reading for a long time use this deck. And I've gotten numerous readings from this deck even before I became a reader. So it wanted to come out for Sag season, so here we are. And then, because Sagittarius, again, back to that visionary aspect, that traveling, that expansion aspect of Sagittarius. Oh my God, and look at what's at the top of the deck. That's nuts. That's nuts. Well, there you go. So we have the Black Moon astrology. Even though I wonder if this will come back out for Aquarius season, since Aquarius rules astrology. But it's here. It's here for Sagittarius season. I'm glad to see it because, baby, I haven't used this deck in months. I haven't really been reading a lot either. So I used it the other day, but it was just it wasn't like in depth. I haven't done anything in depth with this in a while. Speaking of which, this is the last, oh no, that's not true. One more, but before we go to that, I was really surprised to see Moonology show up too for Sagittarius season. Maybe because we have that eclipse on December 4th, right? Jay-Z's birthday. Jay-Z's birthday. My sign is a Sag. This is just what I plan to do. Oh, don't be mad. So Moonology will go nicely, obviously, with our Black Moon astrology deck. I don't think I said the title of that other deck. So, oh, I guess that makes sense though, the moon. Like, what could be more expansive than the moon, right? Like, the whole idea of going to the moon and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And then our last deck is another favorite that I just used all the time and then stopped, is the Threads of Fate Oracle Shadow Edition. So even, again, this was like me attempting to like not be afraid and surrendering to the shadow. Yeah. So this is nice. Again, it has that dreamy, not quite understanding what it is feeling for me, which is very much Sagittarius, right? Like it's, oh, that's so interesting. So the thing about this deck is, depending on how you look at it, you'll see different things. Different things will be illuminated. And isn't that Sagittarius? Isn't that Sagittarius? Or sometimes things aren't quite what it seems with them, right? Depends on the perspective. It depends on how you look at what's happening. So that is what I have for the cards that I am using. I hope you enjoyed this video. Drop down in the comments and let me know if you did. And I hope to see more of you this month. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.